Hello my friends, thank you so much for being here. This is going to be kind of a get ready with me style video, except I'm going to be taking questions throughout the video. I asked on Instagram for you to submit some questions, so this could be kind of a Q&A get ready with me. I'm going to see if I can actually juggle the two things at once. You guys came up with some amazing questions, and I thought along with that, I just kind of want to do a pretty sort of soft glam type look. It has been kind of stormy here. It's looking extra dark out my window, but yeah, let's jump in and get going. I'm going to use my Clinique Moisture Surge. This is the Sheer Tint Hydrator Broad Spectrum SPF 25. I already have a little bit of moisturizer on already, and yeah, I really like this stuff. I use about that much, so kind of a large pearl-sized amount, dab it around, and then I like to blend it in with a thick brush. And if I really get on a roll with the question answering throughout this video and I forget to mention a certain product, I will list everything below in the description, okay? Alrighty, so this is my Real Techniques RT Go brush. Get it all blended in. I feel like this has that really nice light coverage, but it looks very glowy. Before I get into my video all about BB creams and stuff like that, I'm kind of reaffirming that yes, this is definitely one of the glowiest, or dewiest maybe I should say. The first question here says, do you feel that beauty creators have lost touch? Yeah, I kind of feel that way to an extent. I don't feel like all beauty creators have lost touch, but I definitely have had moments where I've like watched a celebrity tutorial on Vogue. Isn't it Vogue's YouTube channel? Yeah, where they like have different guest celebrities come on and they're like standing in a bathroom putting on makeup. And when I feel that they are more down to earth seeming sometimes than certain YouTubers, I'm like, oh, there's some little off here. I don't know. I think maybe some people are kind of coming to a realization. This is my Shea Moisture lip balm. My lips are dry. I need something. I think some people are coming to the realization that viewers really kind of like a stripped down sort of approach at times. I know I've gotten a really good response when I just, you know, do my video somewhere random and casual. It just makes the whole feel of the video a little bit more approachable. I don't know. Also, when you look outside of YouTube and maybe you watch like somebody on TikTok or something and they're talking about makeup favorites, you kind of realize that YouTubers, and sometimes myself included, really get into the cycle of the new stuff. And sometimes when you look outside that and you see what people on other platforms are really into, it's not always about the new for everyone. But yet YouTubers, I think, kind of feel that pressure to always stay on top of every new thing. And it can make us kind of crazy at times, I think. But I think here's what may be reeling some people back in. Like I said, I think it's viewers' enjoyment for the very real, almost old school types of like get ready with me's or tutorials and things like that. I do think there's a desire out there for that, so that will help. And also the videos that involve shopping your stash or decluttering. I think those kinds of videos can sort of help, I don't know, normalize the environment a little bit. I'm gonna use my Stay Woke concealer here. I'm loving this stuff. It's the White Pearl T1 shade. That's what I am. Next question is, what is your favorite comfort food? I've been a fan since the apartment days. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you, Olivia. Well, my favorite comfort food, the first thing that comes to mind, my sister, Kelly, aka Pup, makes the most amazing homemade chicken pot pie. Like the crust is this delicious savory pie crust. It's so good. And then she uses usually like rotisserie chicken on the inside. The filling is just, you know, veggies and amazing flavor. She's made it at pivotal times in my life. I remember the last time we had it, I think, was actually the night before Rhett was born. But having that with a little corn or a little mashed potato, like that is one of the best things. I'm going to lightly set with some Laura Mercier translucent pressed powder here and take my next question. What do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned from 10 plus years of doing YouTube? Well, I would say that most people are good. I mean, not to go all like Luke Bryan, I believe most people are good. But what has really made a huge statement to me has been all of the amazing positivity. The times where you sit back and you're like, wow, that person didn't have to be so kind, or didn't have to, you know, stop their day, watch this video, and then leave some sort of amazing sentiment, you know, like that. They didn't have to do that, but they do. Just the acknowledgement of how many good people are out there who have been there for such a long span of time. My channel has been around a long, long time, and there are many people watching who say, you know, I've been here since the beginning, and I just think that's amazing. And that's not lost on me. And I know, like, it's easy to get that one, like, comment that really makes you like, oh, I can't believe they said that. That's terrible. But I think with time on YouTube, I've kind of realized that those kinds of people are in the minority, honestly. And I do think they say what they say sometimes just to try to get a reaction, or maybe they're in just a real sour mood, so they're spewing that out there to everybody else. But I really have learned to not let those kinds of comments be my takeaway. You know, my takeaway is appreciating all of the amazing people out there. And it kind of takes me back to thinking about Wayne Dyer, and, you know, he talks about the orange, and when you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice, what's inside. And like when you squeeze a person, when you put them under pressure or you put them in a difficult situation, what comes out is what's inside. And I think sometimes people get on YouTube and they're having a bad day, and what comes out is what's inside of them, and it might not be a real happy person at that time. But I think if we could acknowledge that and be like, okay, what they said doesn't make me feel good, but odds are they're not having a very good day or experience in life right now, I'm gonna look past that and move on. It's a lot easier to just go through life as a YouTuber, but there are mostly really amazing people out there. Gonna pop into this palette today, my Saharan Blush Volume 2 from Juvia's Place, just because it's really easy. I'm liking dabbing into this as bronzer, one of these is blush, and then highlight. So that's probably gonna be like my next 3 steps here. What is the most underrated makeup brand? Gosh, I could probably think of a few. I'll probably go back when I'm editing and think up a few more. But I really think the Balm is very underrated. I would like to see them get a little more buzz. I think they're just really, really good. I think they put out good quality products, particularly their powder products, like powder blushes and powder eyeshadows. They've got great concepts with palettes. I'd like to see them get more buzz. And I think from the drugstore, you know, really Neutrogena comes to mind quite a bit. They've got some really fantastic products that I don't feel get much attention at all. They actually do some amazingly moisturizing lip products. They've got some good products I would categorize as light coverage in terms of face steps. There's a brand I think I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do my rediscovering series with that. A while back I did a rediscovering Bare Minerals. That was a brand I chose to really like dive back into, try again. I figured out how to get a really good full coverage look with it, and it was fun to sort of take a brand and put it in the spotlight again. And I think Neutrogena might be a good brand to do that with too, kind of rediscovering that, putting it back out there for everyone. Do you know what I mean? I want to do that with some brands where I feel like people have just kind of lost touch with this or that brand. Deanna says, do you like living in a small town? I do like living in a small town. I feel like I've lived in a range of small towns. I grew up in a tiny town. I went off to college to a slightly bigger town, then moved to sort of your standard college town, which isn't tiny, especially if you compare that to where I grew up. It's felt a lot bigger. And now I'm in a nearby, once again, what people call a smallish town, but it feels bigger than where I grew up. But yes, I would say I do like it. I think back to my childhood and I think of just the freedom I had in that time. Like, hop on your bike, ride anywhere. Mom and dad didn't care, or a lot of times even know where I went, but it didn't matter because like safety was not really a concern. Ride all over town, be playing with the neighbors and cousins all day, go off to the pool, stay there hanging out all day. There was just this really beautiful freedom that came with the small town life growing up. And I like the ability to travel. I've seen some amazing places, and sometimes the small town always gets put down as the place that you've got to get away from, or if you really want to experience some culture, you know, you've got to get away, travel far off, go to a big city, do blah blah blah. Well, I think a small town is a special kind of culture of its own. And I think maybe big city folks need to sometimes kind of step down to the small town and see what that's all like too. Because, you know, experiencing life isn't just about going somewhere big. It's about sort of experiencing everything. And I think small towns can get kind of, you know, a bad rap for, oh, everybody knows everybody's business. Maybe people who want to be more anonymous just don't feel very anonymous in a small town. And of course you are gonna have that. But I also think there's a lot of cool qualities to living where I live, being able to get out and see some actual country, you know. It's something I really don't take for granted. Gonna use a little setting mist now. Okay, here's where I'm really used to getting off the beaten path and just saying whatever when I do my brows. Next question is, how are things different with Rhett's routine or schedule than with your first two? This is my Ferocious Brow Pencil from the Balm. Well, he is not as good of a sleeper as the other two were. Granted, things started out hard sleeping wise with all of them. I eventually got into some sleep training with both of the others. I feel like around the 9-month mark with them. And it was because, you know, we had a hard time putting them down, and then maybe throughout the night they'd wake up like once. He's still waking up several times in the night, sometimes 2 times on a good night, but sometimes it's even more than that. And that really affects the routine. Sometimes waking up in the morning, like I just don't have that solid feeling of, okay, he's always going to get up at this time, and then I know I'm going to have this much time to do A, B, and C. He just loves being held. Like, what can you do? I know some sleep training with him is going to be on the horizon. I'm actually doing that Taking Care of Babies course. I haven't implemented the things yet, but like I'm watching the videos and reading the stuff. It's called Taking Care of Babies. It's a person named Kara who puts it on. So I guess to answer that question, things are a little more unpredictable with him. He's just so like cuddly. He loves people. He wants to be touched. He's very tactile. He just loves physical contact. He would rather be sleeping on someone any day than sleeping by himself. May just be part of his nature, may just be part of being a baby, I'm not sure. But that is what we're dealing with. I've been trying, by the way, guys, a new eyeshadow primer just to see how it is, this Hourglass Veil. It's not taking the place of Melania's, just to see, just to try it out. This next question says, you had so many wondering about having a baby boy. Let us know, how has it been? Well, I mean, he is just a darling. He is so sweet. He seems like such a people person. He just lights up really, really easily. It takes nothing to get him to smile. Like, smiling is his default. He's a Libra. Is this like a Libra trait? He's so sweet. I feel like he's just more physical overall than I remember the girls being. Just like, I don't know, when he messes with toys, he's just a little bit rammier, a little more intense with things. But seeing as he's not like talking, or I mean, he has said mama, dada, he's gotten into some strings of babbles where stuff like that has come out. But right now we only have like a portion, a fraction of his personality, I feel, given how much growth there is to have. But guys, I'm worried because he can do no wrong. To me, like, he can do no wrong. He is an angel. Like, he is my little gentleman. Now, I felt and do feel a lot of times that the girls are like the sweetest little angels too. But what is it about a little boy? And when he gives me kisses, he just puts his whole mouth all over my face. He is such a sweetheart. I can't get enough of him. Eye-wise, I'm going to be using my Gen Nude Neutral eyeshadow palette here from Bare Minerals. It's really nice. It's kind of like a rose gold palette because the 2 shimmers here are definitely rose gold vibes, but then you've got like some browns and some nice light shades. And I really love the vertical mirror because you look down into it. I mean, small detail here, but I can see my whole face when I look down. I love that. And I will go ahead and start with this shade in the crease, but this will be the palette I use the whole time. Next question is, which was harder, going from no kids to 1 or 2 to 3? Definitely no kids to 1, I think, because that was just the biggest emotional change. You could only know so much going into it, and I like to be prepared. You know, I like to know what's coming. I don't love feeling like, you know, I'm walking through a house with the lights turned off or something, but that's kind of, in a way, how having your first baby is. There's just so much to learn, and I just remember feeling like lost with the breastfeeding, and once I felt like I got one thing down, you know, there was another thing to have to understand and learn about with babies and kids. And once you've had a couple, then you kind of feel like, okay, you know, I know physically this is going to be a grind and I'm probably going to not have a lot of sleep and it's going to be difficult at times, but it's probably not going to surprise me near as much. And I really do think that's the case. It becomes more of a physical challenge to your body and your stamina having more kids, but it is not as much of an emotional, like, oh my gosh, I used to be able to do whatever I wanted and now I can't do it anymore. I'm not saying having a baby makes you completely like lose your old life, but I mean, there's a time where you feel like things are never going to be the same again. And you know, you do gain back some normalcy. They grow. Everything's constantly changing. I mean, I always say that things are just temporary. When you're going through a difficult time, remember that. And sometimes that'll almost make you sad when you think about the fact that, you know, waking up in the night and rocking that baby, it's only going to be temporary, and there's going to come a time in your life that you miss that, even though you're exhausted as hell right now. I just feel like with every passing kid, I've been a little less stressed over things just because I have seen phases come and I've also seen them go. So nothing concerns me that much. Does that make sense? Have you ever hidden snacks from the kids so you can enjoy them on your own? LOL. Yes, that's survival. That has to be done. I'm going in with the darkest shade now. You've got to look out for yourself. That's part of looking out for your own mental health, is hiding snacks in places. Snacks that they will never see. Snacks that will only be consumed after a certain hour in the night. Like last night for Bub and I, we bust out the Halo Top ice cream and we are, you know, living. Just kind of blending over my edge with a little more of the lightest shade. I'm just keeping it really, really nice and soft here. What's the next question? Are you planning on getting another kitty/pet? Yes, I miss Cupcake so much, you guys. Like, I mean, I come on here and I don't want to like open up every video with how much I'm missing Cupcake, but mornings are difficult. They're a difficult time to get through, and so are evenings. The bulk of the day, I feel like I'm going through life and I'll have constant moments where I'm thinking about her, but more in like a happy way, like, oh, you know, that was Cupcake's area, that was, or I see a cat hair somewhere and it's like, I remember her and I smile, but then I think about her in the mornings and it's like, I want her here. You know, I feel sad that she's not here. I miss her so much. I definitely want another cat. I'm sure we'll be adopting from a shelter again like we did for her. I just think there's so many animals who need a good home. I would love to have another cat or two maybe from a shelter, but it may be some months off, I feel like, for us, because just acknowledging where we're at in life right now with 3 small kids and one being like a 7-month-old. When you get a kitten, which I'd love to get another cat as a kitten, kind of like I did with Cupcake. She was pretty young. She wasn't tiny, but she was really young. Taking care of a really small cat is not without work as well, as you probably know. So I'm just, you know, I respect that, and I'm not saying my life's like slowing down anytime soon, but I would like for Rhett to get just a little bit older before we do that. Next, I think I'm gonna take a little bit of Mystic, the lightest shade, and then one of these two also on the lid. What has been the hardest thing about being on YouTube for as long as you have? Well, you know, I have been on YouTube for a very long time, and I think it's just, you know, staying relevant, trying to have longevity on this platform. Being a YouTuber for a long time is not easy because there's so many people, you know, people have so many directions they can go with their viewership, and you're trying to maintain some sort of audience over a long span of time. I feel like that can be more difficult. Some might argue, well, it's difficult to just bust into YouTube right now, and I think that has its own challenges, but at the same time, being newer compared to being older on this platform, like, I don't know, there's kind of some difficulties with both, but I guess my point is that having longevity on YouTube isn't a given. There's no guarantee that just because someone was once subscribed to you, they'll always want to be subscribed to you, or they once loved watching you. Like, people don't really have to be that loyal. They can easily, with the click of a button or the push of a finger, you know, switch to somebody new. And in a way, it's kind of like the beauty of this platform, but it's also kind of the sadness of the platform too. You know what I mean? The key, I think, you got to keep coming up with fresh ideas, you know, fresh content that, even though you've been around on YouTube for a long time, coming up with new ideas that you haven't seen left and right before. And it's increasingly hard because there's more content out there. But I always try to make it my goal to come up with some unique ideas if I can. What is Rhett's nickname? Well, he's got a few, as you can imagine. We call him Bubba a lot. Bubba's kind of a default. But very early on, we started calling him Baby Buffalo. He just seemed like a little baby buffalo, and then that switched to Huff and Puffalo, and I call him Huff and Puff a lot, or just Puffalo, or Puffalump, or Buffalump, or Baby Buff, or Buff Buff. The nickname thing was a can of worms you wanted to open, okay? I do throw out a Rhett to him sometimes, you know? Yes, I have raised kids who know what their real names are. My dad sometimes sees them and calls them Retty, and I love all of their names, but I was raised on nicknames and I can't not nickname people. I'm taking way long on this eye look, I feel like, because I'm answering these questions, so this doesn't have to take this long. Next question is, what was yours and Bub's first fight about? What is your go-to means of conflict resolution? Gosh, well, you gotta know Bub and I have been together since the high school days, the late high school years, like junior, senior year. And he, at that time, I remember he kind of drew me in with his sense of humor. You know, he was fun to be around and all that. But in terms of sharing his emotions, I remember that being a real, peel back the onion type of effort with him. Now I feel like he shares his emotions and feelings very freely, but at that time I remember just wanting to get more out of him, you know, in that way. So I'm not really remembering specifics, but I know there was stuff pertaining to that. And then I remember in high school, is this a classic high school situation or what? We would have a lot of times where we were hanging out with groups of kids. And I remembered a lot of times in those early years feeling like I had a different person. He had a different personality when we were alone versus when he had a bunch of guy friends around. Did anybody else feel like that back in high school with your high school boyfriends? It's yeah, he acts like he likes me, but he can't act like he likes me too much. I don't know. I just always felt like the personality transformed a little bit when around the guys. But I do seem to remember that changing by college. But yeah, that was something that always ticked me off. You always seem so patient with your kids. Do you ever lose it asking for a friend? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Are you human if you don't lose it from time to time? I definitely feel like I do. I think there are just moments where you don't have that patience anymore. And usually it's times where multiple things are building. Maybe you were just having a frustrating moment with something going on or something you were working on, whatever, and then they catch you at that moment and someone just decides to start squealing, and then there's racing and chasing going on. And then you told them to stop and nobody stopped, and somebody fell down and somebody bumped into something and then they got scraped, and then there's no more band-aids left. Perhaps I'm telling a true story here that happened just a couple nights ago. But yeah, I think we all do. I think those are times where you are not gonna pull the camera out and okay, let me catch this on my Instagram stories for everybody because I'm about to start yelling. That's just not where your head goes as a parent, I don't think. I'm giving myself a little bit of a wingage there. And then I'm gonna do my little smudgy shadow down below. But yeah, I mean, maybe there are some parents out there that never lose their cool, but I definitely do lose my cool from time to time. Are you having any more kids, or is the factory closed? Ding, 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 there's the most asked question of the whole thing. Asked that many times, and yeah, the kid factory is closed. We are thrilled with 3. 3 is all I can physically stand. It really wasn't a matter of okay, now we got that boy, now we can stop. No, even if it was a girl, whatever the case, I just think 3 is a good number for us. Our plate is full, our hands are full. And on that note, a brief timeout here. I want to mention that I got some stuff from Red Aspen because Kristin is doing Red Aspen, and I'm so excited to do my nails. I just haven't had time. Stopping at 3 kids so I can finally do my nails again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's cute little nail things, there's lashes, there's makeup, and I tried a bunch of stuff, and I realized they have something called Lacey's Brow Light Duo Pencil that is literally the exact same thing as my ABH one. I'll use the Red Aspen one right now, but they're literally the same thing, interchangeable. So if you're a Red Aspen fan, if you like they're called nail dashes or the nail things. I can't wait. I got a nude shade and a bright red to use in those, but I'll link below to all that. But if that's a brand you like to order from and you're interested in having this double-ended pencil where I use the matte end to kind of go in my inner rim, and I use the shimmery end to go around the inner corner and elsewhere on my face, just general brightening. You can get one of these from Red Aspen, and they've got some great lashes, and I'm going to use my lashes in this video. They also have a really pretty cream blush stick in an amazing texture. This is called Evelyn's Blush and Crush in Mulberry is what I have. And this is so pretty, but I've already got my blush look on today. Save it for another day. There will be another day. How are you and Bub keeping romance in your quarantine life? Struggling over here. Yeah, struggling over here too, for sure. And it's not really just about being in quarantine, but it's about having 3 kids and one of them being breastfed and always needing to eat all the time and not wanting to sleep on his own and having lots of nights where you try to put him down, then they wake back up and then blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's hard to have any sense of romance. What I have learned, and this is part of that, like, you know, things are shocking to you when you're a first-time parent and then you kind of come to know and expect things after multiple kids. I talk about seasons of life a lot, you know, and we're in one kind of season of life right now. And it's harder to have that alone time. It doesn't come as frequently as you would like it to, but it doesn't mean it never will. And please don't feel like if you're kind of struggling through life with a new baby and you're like, will things ever get back to normal? It will, but you've got to have some patience. You've got to like not bite your partner's head off, you know, during these times, and realize that your relationship may be going through some real important growth in ways outside the physical realm. You know what I mean? Like having 3 kids, I feel like I, you know, lean on Bub and I see different parts of him come out that make me like love him so much more than I even knew possible. And there's a teamwork and a bond. There's a newfound bond, I think, in every trying situation. There's an increased bond that comes out of it. And you mentioned quarantine in the question, and I get that because like it's a different life for a lot of people, but for him, you know, he has a small office that he's able to work in, not have a lot of people contact, so he's kind of been going in, and you know, I am a work from homer in general, so that life hasn't been vastly different. I mean, we can't really get out and have like the date night thing as much, but you can do kind of like a little at-home date night. Oops, I just got mascara right there. But no, it is totally hard, and for us it's the kid thing that seems to make it the hardest right now. But yeah, I'd like some more romance, but we're just freaking exhausted over here. Off topic, can you do a baby's favorite stuff video? How is he doing? Well, he's doing well. He is thriving. He is putting on the pounds, and he's got definitely, I could come up with some favorite things. If that's a video you all would like to see, I would like to do that as well. And you're right, it would definitely turn into like a whole video in itself. I'm just gonna put a little lower mascara on, and then I'll be putting on the false lashes. What time in your life would you like to relive again? Would you change it? Oh, this is such a good question. You know, sometimes I feel like, gosh, I'd love to be a kid again, but in a way I kind of get to relive childhood through these kids, so I wouldn't necessarily need to go back to that myself. Part of me feels like, gosh, if I could do junior high again, man, I'd come in with a new attitude. Those girls wouldn't know what hit them. But ultimately, I think I land on college. College was quite a fun time for me, and I would not mind reliving that again. And would I change it? No. I had a great college experience. I'm using the Red Aspen lashes. I have them in the style, I believe it's Joy. Is that the style right there? What's written on the back? And they're really beautiful. They've got a nice thick band, but it's very maneuverable, if that makes sense. And I can tell it's going to be in it for the long haul. They remind me of like Huda lashes. Those are lashes I wore a lot over and over again because they had a good band that eventually kind of forms to the shape of your eye. And then I got the glue, I got the applicator. There was like a little lash bundle. But the time in my life I would like to relive again, I would have to say, is college. I want to be on a cheerleading squad again, be back in a sorority. I still had Bub there as part of my life, and it would be fun to go back. Okay, I've got my lashes on. How pretty are these? Love the thickness. They seem like they're going to be really, really durable. Next question, do you notice yourself going through natural or makeup phases, natural, bold, etc.? Absolutely. I mean, isn't that the beautiful thing? You have this canvas that you can do whatever you want with it, you know, and I do find find myself like just edging toward maybe a more natural, quick look. I see a lot of beauty in simple looks, but then sometimes I get in a vibe where I'm like, I just want to see myself with lashes on again and a more of an eye look, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's normal. I think we all do that. What is the ultimate late night snack? I tend to go for popcorn. If I'm hungry late at night, I want popcorn. I always seem to have something from Aldi on hand, whether it's the white cheddar or right now the roasted sweet corn flavor is so good. They have like a salty and sweet kettle corn that's really yummy, so I love popcorn. Even like Halo Top ice cream, really good. Love that. Love the mint chip. But it's dangerous. I could eat the whole thing. Oh, here's a question from Pup. She says, how much do you miss Pup? Love Pup. Tons, Pup. I miss you so much. Oh, I love you, Pup. In the spirit of Pup, I think I'm going to use one of her signature colors from back in the day, I believe, Rum Raisin. But this is one of the new L'Oreal, not L'Oreal, it's a Revlon Melting Glass Shine formula. I got two little ones awake over there, by the way, they're coloring, if you hear voices in the background. How pretty is that? Love that with this look, just kind of like the soft glam vibe. It does smell really nice. Very vanilla-y, kind of baked something. Kind of like a nice sugar cookie or something like that. Really good. But it does just have a little bit thinner, a little bit greasier feel on the lips than the L'Oreal Coloris Shines, I must say. And guys, that is my look. Those are my questions. Thank you so much for submitting so many great questions for this Q&A. Some deep ones, some fun ones. It was a nice mix, I think. And I think the look turned out nice too, so yay. Again, if I glazed over anything that I did, I will put all the products in the info box below. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.